Sahanavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryankaravagame Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavare. Om Shanti. Hari Om. Karma Yoga, the path of action. The physical body executes action. Page number 220. The physical body executes action, but the body cannot act on its own. It is either the mind or the intellect that propels the body to act. The mind is riddled with likes and dislikes. The intellect is that which reasons, judges, decides. In practical life, you either operate as per your mind's likes and dislikes, or let your intellect reason and decide the course of action. In which case, your intellect may approve and go along with what your mind chooses to do, or disapprove and decide a course of action opposed to your mind's fancy. The problem with the mind is that it has no direction or dimension. Can prove that detrimental, even fatal to you. The mind entertains boundless desires, can never be satiated. Hence, you cannot afford to let your actions be driven by the indiscriminate demands of the mind. Your intellect must maintain a constant vigilance over the mind's activity. That does not mean that you discard all that your mind likes and quote what it dislikes. Your intellect only makes sure that you take to the right course of action regardless of the pressures exerted by your likes and dislikes. Your like and dislike, your attraction and aversion, attachment and revolution, or for things, beings, and actions turn out to be the greatest enemy working against you. Few realize their impact on one's life. If not governed by the intellect, they could lead you to destruction. People are unaware of the devastating nature of the mind. Worse still, they nurture and nourish their likes and dislikes, pamper them, and go through suffering and sorrow. The practical way to circumvent the impact of your likes and dislikes is to rise above them by pitching up an ideal in life. An ideal is a higher goal, a common cause that you choose to work for, above your self-centered interests in life, wherein your interest and attention is focused towards the higher values of life rather than your selfish ends. If you do not dedicate your life to an ideal, you will remain enslaved by your likes and dislikes. Hence, carefully study and reflect upon the importance of fixing an ideal in life. As high an ideal as you can reach within your capacity. Make sure that you choose a realistic ideal and work towards it. When your intellect is fired with an ideal, your mind's likes and dislikes slowly lose their persuasive influence. The ideal that you set for life could be relative or absolute. A relative ideal is that which is directed to the welfare of your community or country, to humanity or all living beings. The absolute ideal could be to realize the Supreme Self, attain the ultimate spiritual enlightenment. Now, what he is doing is, in the study of Karma Yoga, first thing in this understanding, you need to have, there are three aspects that will be there. Any discussions with reference to karma, you need to remember it will be done from three different angles. One is the attitude behind the action. Second one is the actual action. The third one is the fruit, the effect of action. So anytime there is a discussion about karma, it will be revolving around these three only. Either they'll be discussing with reference to the attitude of the actor, what we call as karta. What is the study with reference to karta, the one who is performing the action? With what intention, what attitude, what motivates him to perform the action? With what understanding, with what thought, with what value, with what idea he is performing the action. That is with reference to karta. Then there is actual performance of action. Apart from attitude, you need to have that action also to be done in a particular way. Study about that. Then the third one is with reference to the fruit. Now, the one who is interested in Karma Yoga will straight away delete the third aspect, because he has nothing to do with that. He is a karta performing karma, that's all. Then, with reference to the fruit, he is no longer karta. He takes the position of a bhokta and goes through it as the consequence receiver. So the same individual takes two different positions in life. One position is performer of action, the one who is doing the action, karta. Another one is with reference to the effect of action, he becomes a consequence receiver who is a bhokta. This bhokta is totally different. There is no connection between the two. But the problem is, since it is happening within that same jiva, the same individual, we get confused. Now, most of us prefer to be a bhokta all our lifetime. Enjoy. What is your life for? Enjoy, sir. Life, my ultimate mission is what? Is to enjoy. Now, then you are yet to step into the position of a karta itself. And then comes further refinement of that karta. Karma Yoga is only with reference to how that karta can be refined, meaning the attitude behind the action can be defined, refined, and the actual action can be refined. That process of refining the attitude and action is called Karma Yoga. In this, there is no connection with reference to the fruit at all. So, karta will never be interested with reference to the fruit. And we all will say, oh, it's such a great thing, Karma Yoga means what? Do your duty, don't worry about the result. This is, even those who have never studied Bhagavad Gita don't know where is Bhagavad Gita, what is Bhagavad Gita, will be quoting it. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu katach. Ma phaladhate durbuhu. Ate samgospa karmani. All this. Half quoted, verse by people. Your right is only with reference to the action. You don't have it. Because you are not. It's exactly like you play different roles in life. When you go to office, you are a manager. When you come home, you are not a manager. This itself, 90% of people don't understand. You see, I met one, school teacher. She was saying, I've been in this teaching profession for last about, for 30 years or so. I have seen, girls and boys, coming up with so many issues. Teenage kids, coming to me with any number. And I was able to guide them, I was able to mold them, I was able to do all those things. Fantastic. But my daughter never approved me. I could not, do that. Why? What is the problem? I said, all that you have been doing in your life is what? You go home, your daughter wants mother, not a teacher in you. You go to the school, you get out of that school, you enter the house, you are no longer teacher, you are a mother. The problem is what? She is behaving as a teacher in the house also. You see, this is the problem. You have moved out of that, means you have to switch off. The problem is we cannot. So what happens is the position now is this. That's why a lot of people keep asking this question. What wrong I have done to go through this? Now, when they are asking the question, what wrong I have done, they are fully correct. They have not done anything. Why? Because right now they are Bhokta. They are not Karta. Now, Bhokta cannot do anything. Bhokta always has to be what? Consequence receiver only. He has to just go through the experience. He has to enjoy whatever the consequences of the same jiva in a position as Karta performed. That is why the performer goes on doing things without bothering about how that is going to impact Bhokta. And Bhokta always cribbles. Why he is going through so much of problem in his life? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? This confusion is because of this. First thing we understand in Karma Yoga is the fact that we are calling it as Karma Yoga, not Phala Yoga. Karma Phala Yoga is not what we are calling it as. It is called as Karma Yoga. Means you can discuss only with reference to action, effort, exertion. You cannot discuss with reference to the fruit. So this fellow will never be interested. Now, can you drop the fruit, sir? It is not possible for you. Why? Because you are still want to be a Bhokta. You are yet to get into the shoes of a Karta. First, put on the shoes of a Karta and behave. Then, whole discussion will evolve by itself automatically. Now, as person who is going to be performing action, you are given a choice. As Karta, you are given a choice. What is a choice given to you? You are given 3 choices. To do something, not to do something, to do that something in a particular way. With what outlook you are going to be doing it is also your choice. So Karta is being given, that's what he means. Only human beings have the dilemma of choice. Other creatures don't have the choice. The cow can never decide to go on fasting one day. Today is Narsimha Jayanti. I am going to be fasting today. It cannot do all that. You see, all the lions cannot decide today is Narsimha Jayanti. Why? Vishnu took the form of Narsimha today only. So what are we going to do, sir? Today we are all going to be celebrating that. How are we going to celebrate? Let us fast. Or let us feast. The lions will never decide those things. They don't have the choice. When they are hungry, They will see whatever is available, it will strike, eat, move out. After that, it will not disturb at all. When it is not hungry, it will not hit. It will not attack. It is very simple equation for that. But human alone is given this choice. Because of the choice, there is a dilemma for him, there is a confusion for him. And the tragedy is, most of us are not confused. We are very clear what we are supposed to be doing. What are you supposed to be doing? Whatever desire you get, whatever you like, you do. Whatever you don't like, don't do. Life is a simple equation. You Vedanta fellows only confuse it. Only you guys complicate it. Life is not complicated. Life is a very simple equation. All that you have to do is what? Do whatever you like. Don't do whatever you don't like. You don't feel like doing, don't do. You don't feel like eating, don't eat. You feel like eating, eat. You feel like jumping, jump. Feel like sleeping, sleep. Feel like working, work. Don't feel like working, don't work. This is what every child believes with reference to their parents. See, every child thinks like that because they were not able to do whatever they want. The child wants to wear a particular dress. Mother says what? No, you should wear only this. A child can't make a choice. Whereas the child sees mother wearing whatever she feels like. Father is doing whatever he feels like. Whatever channel he wants to watch, he is watching the channel. So the child thinks what? Freedom in life means what? Doing whatever you like, not doing whatever you don't like. Equation is so simple. Yes. Now, this is also a choice. Remember, it's not that it's not a choice. You have a choice. But along with that, only humans were given a choice to choose to follow the like or not to follow the like. You may choose to follow, you may not choose to follow. That is a different thing. That's not what is he saying. First step is recognize there is a choice we have first. And we don't understand the power of that recognition. The fact that you can recognize you have a choice itself demands a terrific understanding. Because most of us don't feel that we do have a choice with reference to every action. You feel something is forcing. Something is compelling you to do. What is it that is compelling you to do, which is covering up your choice completely? Make it oblivious, invisible. That is the presence of your desires. That's the mind. The mind with its desires makes you to believe you don't have that. How that thing comes in? Because of you acting on that. Every time you act on that desire, that like or dislike, remember, action has a principle. Action repeats itself. That is the nature of it. The nature of action is to, tendency of action is to repeat. It will go on repeating. That repetition makes you more and more bound to that particular desire, like, dislike, whatever the situation is. You're bound by that. You feel you are stuck, as it were. This is what we call as I got into that habit. This is what we say, habit. You're habituated. Or it can become little more if you go, it will become compulsive. It's no longer habit, it becomes compulsive. You are compelled to do it. You are compelled to think. You are compelled to speak. You are compelled to say certain things, we are compelled as it were. No choice. Like a typical American, you go, typical Bombay, you go, typical Madrasi, you go, typical, Andhra, you go, Bangalore, every place you go, people have a particular words. Just comes out without knowing any meaning of it. There is no meaning to it. What is the meaning in which you uttered that word? Like in Kannada, we keep using the word guru. Now, for anybody and everyone, you call them guru, guru, guru. And you call someone guru in a very derogatory way also. But what is the meaning of that word guru? The one who is big is called guru. The big one is called guru. And the one who is dispelling the darkness is called guru. And they go on giving, very many meanings for word. All so beautiful. But the way we use, why he uses that, sir? Because it's just natural. Why? Because it repeats. It has a repetition. Action has the tendency to repeat itself. And you keep doing it. All that you have to do is give it that initial momentum. Give it that initial support. You support it initially to repeat few times. That's all. After that, what is it? It becomes automatic. It could be for anything. Remember, even to discipline, it is the same rule. They say. You keep doing one thing for 48 days. It will become a habit in you. All that you have to do is what? Continuously do it for 48 days. Habit. Now you come and sit in the class. Why? Habituated. It's just a habit. That's about it. You got used to doing this action at a particular time. Therefore, what happens? Wherever you are, at that time, you have to do that action. That compelling thing is what is known as mind. That which recognizes that choice and ensures that choice is exercised is intellect. Now, to exercise that choice in a particular way so that you don't fall a prey to your mind is what the question is. You do have that. We do have this choice. Now, this desires compel you to do an action, force you to do an action. What is that desire? That's a very interesting study. Now, there are various ways in which you can study this desire. We'll say, what is the easiest way of studying? Simple way of studying desire is what? All desires are nothing but. He's using 3 words here. Remember, in this portion, he's using 3 words. 3 different layers of understanding you can get. Subtlest one, vasana. very difficult to conceive, very difficult to comprehend what is it, how that is influencing, etc. For me to recognize vasana, I'm not talking about intellectual understanding of the term vasana, concept vasana. I'm saying vasanas to be functioning in me. How my vasanas are functioning in me. That is so difficult. Slightly easier one is to understand it as desires. If desire is also difficult for you to understand, then he uses another term, likes and dislikes. So when he says mind, what he is referring to is the desires plus likes and dislikes put together. In this, desire is slightly difficult to recognize. Likes and dislikes are much more easier for us to understand. You do actions because of a like or a dislike. Now you do actions when we say drive you to do something. What is it that is driving you to do something is the utility of that action. What is this? What is this action is going to give me in return? So first, I have to establish the possibility of getting that return. Then I am willing to make my investment of action, effort. You're all with me? Desire means the hope of getting the returns on that X amount of exertion I have to go through to perform that action. I need to be given that guarantee first. Give me that guarantee. That mind demands that utility first. It says, give me that. As long as that utility is possible and attractive, I will do action. But then what happens? You work, you get it. After getting it, what happens? After getting that car, which you dreamt of so much, it is standing in the garage. Right? What is happening to you now? Are you getting the kick from that car? This is what Byron did. Lord Byron. He was with many women. This man is escaping everyone. He will spend some time with them and throw them out. He will spend some time and throw them out. No. But one lady was so smart. She said, nothing doing, you have to marry me. He was also so interested. He said, okay, get married. They got married. After marriage, they are walking out of the church. They're coming out to get into the car. As they are walking out, they're supposed to be holding their hands and walking. See? Suddenly, halfway through they are walking, Byron left her hand and started taking 2 steps. She came fast and caught hold of his hand. Asked, what happened? He said, for a few seconds, I forgot that I'm married. Because I saw another girl that side passing by. Now that she is there, before that, She was seeing this girl. Now what is he doing? Now that she is married, now that he is married to her, now he says what? That girl is what? And then what is going to happen? And then what is going to happen? And then what is going to happen? Every time you go with the hope of that fulfillment. Right? Every time you go to an action propelled by a desire means action executed with the hope of fulfilling that desire. Correct? Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. Action propelled by a desire means action propelled for the fulfillment of that particular desire. And you get it. But the problem is what? Does your mind get the fulfillment, that satisfaction that is promised? That doesn't happen. When that is not happening, you get disappointed. When you get disappointed, what is the next step? What is the disappointment? That disappointment is what we call as troubles in life, problem in life. My life is not good at all. My life, everything is just a disappointments only. And every time you get disappointed, for all your disappointments, you blame who? You feel cheated by, you feel victimized by, this is what your desires does to you. What is the desire is doing to you? What desire does to you is it makes you feel like victimized. Feels that you have become a victim. Right? Now, when you feel like a victim, obviously, a victim cannot exist without a villain, no? How can a victim exist without a villain? Without a predator, how can a prey exist? It's not possible, no. Without citizens, where government can exist? Without a teacher, where is student? Without a student, there is a teacher. Not possible. Why? They have to exist together only. If one is there, means other is automatic. I am a teacher with reference to a student. I am a student with reference to a teacher. I am son with reference to my parents. I am parent with reference to my child. See, without that, this is not possible to exist. Here, you feel like a one who is being deceived, victimized. Then obviously there has to be a deceiver. Who is the deceiver other than you? Other than you, only two things can exist. In existence, only there are three things. You, world, God. Me, you, God. That's all. Only three things are existing. Right? Nothing more than that. If I am the victim, if I am being deceived, by whom I will be deceived? Only two chances are there. Either the world must have deceived me or God must have deceived me. So if I can blame world, I blame the world. If I cannot blame the world, I'll start blaming God. But one thing is for sure. What does it say? I am not the deceiver. I am deceived. I am a victim. I am not the villain. Nobody says I am the villain. Even Ravana is not saying I am villain. He says I am the real hero. Duryodhana says what? I am a brave man, he says. What bravery? He runs away from the battlefield and hides himself. And then he says, I am a brave man. What bravery is that? Huh? Is this bravery? But then what? We also fall for it. We read that and say, yeah, he's a great man. Duryodhana is a very good fellow. The real problem is Krishna only. A lot of people, put that Akshara, we say, the head of Krishna for everything. He can absorb everything. It doesn't matter for him anyway. It's so interesting to see people, how your desires dupe you. That intellect that you have, that penetrative thinking, you have that awareness that you can have, the alertness that with which you can capture what is happening is called intellect. Don't take intellect here to be that analytical ability. Your analytical ability, your memory is not intellect based. A lot of people think, analysis is intellect. It's not analysis based. It is alertness. Alertness means your ability to recognize what? Am I the victim or not? If I am a victim of who? I am a victim of my own. So it is real tragedy, this is. This is what Hitler says. Repeat a lie 10 times. People will start believing it as truth. But he didn't go one step further. Mullah goes one step further. Repeat a lie 20 times. You will start believing that is truth. That's the difference between Hitler and Mullah. You will start believing. Maybe it is true. Maybe it is like that. Who's stating that? Your own mind promises something. Because of that promise, you work, you put in that effort, you get it. When you get there, only you realize that it is falling flat. You see? But that's where your mind is so cunning. And it is so interesting. Because a lot of people think, when you are in trouble, only you get into Vedanta, philosophy. Life is a great teacher, experience a great teacher. If you were to be learning from your life experiences, by now you would have become Buddha. Buddhas and Mirabai and Kabir and Tyagaraja, Ramatirtha, like that you will be sitting. You cannot. Why is that? Follow your own life very carefully. This is what intellect is. Intellect only recognizes what had happened to me when I have been following the mind. Mind means what? Desires and likes and dislikes. Now, first we are just analyzing desires now. When I am following this, that is a time, when in trouble only people come to Vedanta many times. They seek knowledge. I say it won't work. It has never worked. It is exactly why it doesn't work, I'll tell you. Because it is like when your factory is in half fire, you are asking for insurance, policy to be taken. Which insurance company will give policy to you? When your factory is good, where there is no problem at all, that is the time you have to. When your business is going well, everything is going fine, that is the time you are supposed to save and keep aside. The problem is what? When everything is going fine, you totally get lost and indulge in all that and forget about this. You see, at least you must have that capacity to understand materially. Even materially, people don't do that. That's why a lot of companies, they say cash flow problem. Cash flow problem. If you say your company is having a cash flow problem, means you are not fit to do business. It's a preliminary thing. The lady in the house has better sense of finance than you, because she keeps, always they keep X amount. It could be anything. It could be any amount. It could be as simple as just about 100 rupees, or it could be as much as 10 lakhs also. I don't bother about with reference to the quantum. Say the capacity to think. The problem for most of us is we don't realize the need of this knowledge. When you are healthy, you should exercise. But we should start exercising only after doctor has advised. You better go for a walk. Otherwise, finished. Only then we start. When things are going fine, when the market is fine, when everything is fine, earn, save. That will come and help you when you are in trouble. Same principle is what you have to do in life also. What you do at the material is what you have to do for yourself internally also. Internally, you have to earn this knowledge, this understanding when everything is going fine in your life. The problem is when things are going fine in your life, we don't have time. Now it's on lockdown, therefore you are sitting. Or you are retired. Right? Either retired, don't know what else to do. That way, don't get angry with me, please. Okay. A lot of people say, you mean to say that we are all useless people? I say, if you take it like that, take it. I don't care. You see, everything you will take only kudarkam. There is no way. This is what we call as vakra buddhi. That the buddhi doesn't work straight. It bent. It will go, in that direction only. I say, forget it. It doesn't matter. You see. But think carefully. When you are coming into is only when there is trouble. The problem is, a lot of people think it will help spiritually. Remember, it will never help you spiritually, because even when you are going through the trouble, the tragedy strikes, the mind goes through the tragic pain. As the mind is going through that pain, it will quickly replace with a new hope, with a new desire, and make you numb to that current pain. And you will quickly forget it. It's amazing to see. That's what mind does to you. That is where the problem of mind is. If you can follow up to this point, there is no problem at all. You have a desire, you want to fulfill it. What is the problem in fulfilling a desire? Is it wrong? Sir, I want to have ice cream. Is it wrong to have ice cream? Is it a crime? Is it a crime or what? You people talk as though, desires, likes and dislikes. You guys present it as though, following a desire is like a criminal thing. Okay, spiritual. It's not legal criminal. Spiritually, it is criminal or what? What is wrong in that? Nothing wrong in that up to this point. The problem is, you get that disappointment. When you get that disappointment, you will feel victimized. When you feel victimized, you will feel helpless. That helplessness will put you in pain, frustration. When you go through that frustration, you cannot stay with that agitated state. Mind cannot stay in that agitation for a long period of time. So what it does, instead of recognizing the whole blunder of this process, it will pick up a new hope, a new desire, and say, this is wrong. This you forget. That is better. This is useless. Go for that. Then what you will do? You will go for that. Repeat that same scenario. You will come back to the same situation again. This is what Shankara calls in Vajagovindam as Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Yes. Again birth, again death. Again birth of what? Again birth of a hope, again death of that hope. Again birth of that hope, again death of that hope. Hope getting nourished, nurtured, and shattered. And every time your hope gets shattered, you feel hopeless, you feel helpless. In that period, for a short period of time, you will turn towards God, towards higher, and you will believe you are growing spiritual. You are becoming spiritual now. Before you could even settle down there, your mind would have picked up another hope, another desire. So whenever we say desire, immediately understand what desire is nothing but development of a hope, expectation. You genuinely believe this. And every desire, this is one aspect. Now you need to understand all this before you go to the next solution. Most of us, jump to solution straight away. The solution he is giving. But you need to recognize the problem first. Understand the gravity of the issue now. Now, the mind's utilitarian attitude gives you one problem. That leads you to that development of a hope. That hopes get shattered. Shattered hope puts you in a state of fix. In that state of mental agitation, you become inactive. So your life, if you take, your life is nothing but you're attracted to something, go through the whole process, reach a state of inaction because of agitation, a period of inaction. That inaction again, build a new hope, go again. This is what we are doing all our lifetime. This is the cycle in which you are stuck. This cycle in which the action putting you, the karma that is putting you, is what is referred by action repeats itself. It goes on repeating. It's repeating. It's repeating. Repeating. The likes and dislikes. The desires. The next one he says, this is too subtle for people to capture. Okay. At least likes and dislikes you can understand easily. If you cannot understand desires and its problem and all those things, how desire is holding you as a slave. You don't feel like a master. You don't feel like a commander performing action. You are performing action like a slave now. That slavery feeling that we have, the choicelessness that we are experiencing, even though there is choice for all of us. From where it is coming is where the mind is coming. It is detrimental. It can be even fatal, he says. It can go real fatal in scenarios. Now we don't have to go into that examples to establish and all those things. Examples are there in the Shastras, in the Puranas. You go, so many examples have been given. An innocuous thing can cause a tremendous problem. All that comes. Another one he says is, if you cannot understand this, at least take it mind's likes and dislikes. If you cannot understand the problem from the angle of desires, understand it from likes and dislikes. It's all synonymous only. Okay, it's all synonymous. You don't have to really be. Then don't ask what's the difference between desire and likes and dislikes. It's the same thing in a different way. It is little easier to understand a like or a dislike. What is this problem with reference to likes and dislikes? This likes and dislikes that we are performing is guiding our life is easy to understand in the sense it can never be catered to by the world all the time. That is not possible. My like will never be catered to all the time. To have my child coming first all the time. Is it possible? You'll say at least once we should get known. Right? I like to have this. I don't like a person speaking to me in a particular manner, speaking about something, speaking about somebody in some way. But the problem is what? Somewhere in life, one fellow will talk about them the way you don't like. Then what happens to you? You see, your likes and dislikes will expect what? To be satisfied, to be fulfilled all the time. But world can never cater to your likes and dislikes. That's why I don't discuss much with reference to likes and dislikes, because that's very easy. This is straight away you can understand. Vasana discussion becomes too theoretical. You see, Vasana discussion becomes too theoretical. Likes and dislikes discussion becomes too superficial. Where there is a real thing that we get is in the discussion of desires. What is your mind is desiring? The mind's desires go on seeking variety. That is mind. Desires means what, sir? Variety. A desire can never be with singular, one. It will never be. It will want variety. I am not happy with this. I want that. I want this, want this. Variety seeking is the one. And the desires have another problem. There are so many problems actually. I'm just giving, whatever counts. Another problem of the mind is to have something. Desire is what I want. I want this. I want that. Whatever my wants is what we call as my desires. What is it that I want in life? All that what I want in life is made to feel by me like it is a must. It is a necessity. The desires doesn't make you recognize what is created for convenience gets converted into necessity. I'll just explain. Intellect is that which understands this is a necessity, this is created for the convenience of it. Say, for example, time. Is there a thing called time existing? Don't tell me, yeah, correct, sir, there's no such thing called time. If you say there is no such thing called time, then I will say there is no such thing called old age. There is no such thing called growth. There is no such thing called death. அதெல்லாம் இருக்கு சார். I'm getting old, gray hair coming, wrinkles coming, death is there. All this is there. So don't immediately jump in and get into that philosophical mood of saying, because it is in the class we ask this. Now, what is time for all of us? What is the concept of time? That in the transaction level, in the worldly sense or in the real sense of what we are living in, we will have a class next Thursday. We close it, we'll meet Thursday. And I say, that's the time. Thursday, 7 o'clock, we'll have the class. Is there a thing called a Thursday? Is there a thing called a 7 o'clock? In reality, there is no such thing called 7 o'clock, this time, that time, this year, 2021. 2021 is because of what? Because of that one fellow Gregorian. That fellow created one calendar. And because that country, that government was ruling vast land, they implemented that calendar. That's all. Imagine the whole world was influenced by India. Then will we be following the Gregorian calendar? No, we'll be following the Indian calendar. Panchanga only everybody will be having. All over the world, they will be having Panchanga only. That's all. Then it's created by somebody. And that also how, sir, two calendars he used. That's it. Before that Julian calendar had only 10 months. And then he added 2 more months and made it to 12 months. These are all, history. You can see that. This is the time this happened, this is the time that happened, this is the time this has been fixed. And then he calculated this way, that way. And there are some errors in that calculation. There is a mistake in his calculation. These people have found out that mistake. And then they said, it's okay, I forget it. Doesn't matter. Now we don't have to change it. Let us just continue. Because it is already so many records have been made in that same thing. So like government office, they also decided, okay, doesn't matter, let's just continue. Why? All this is done for what? Because we need to have a common understanding amongst us. Because if 30, 40 of us have to meet again, all of us cannot be having our own concept of time. If our own concept of time were to be there, then there is no possibility for us to come on the common ground. So to come to a common consensus, we created this concept called time. This year, this month, this week, this date, this day. All this was created because of convenience. The convenience things had converted into a reality, as though it is actually existing. All the relationships, marriage, child, grandchild, all this is created for convenience. Why? Because human lost his capacity to stay alone. He cannot stay alone. Since he could not stay alone, he needs to create some group. So when he creates a group, there has to be a relationships. That relationships were created for convenience purpose. Money is created for convenience of transaction. But today, money has become what for all of us? Reality. As though it is we couldn't understand what is created, what is existentially real. We have started giving value to something which is more. If this is too much, I'll give you a simple one to understand how desires, how the mind dupes us, the duping of the mind. The duping is done by converting the comforts and luxuries into a necessity. How this is how it happens. You have to eat. Correct? When you are hungry, you have to eat. When you have to eat, do you eat anything? You bring a Lebanese food to a South Indian Brahmin. He says what? One day he will have, one meal he can have. Wow, fantastic here. Oh, you only liked it? No. So keep giving him every day. After third day, he says what? You're torturing us. Who will eat like this? Every day, how can you have bread? And that fellow asks, how can you have every day idli? Now, to me, food, when I say, what does it serve? Yes, shelter. Any shelter will do. No, I specify something as a particular thing. That particular becomes my need. And what is so interesting is, whatever I desire is what I will call as my need. My desires are only to move from, I told you, that servant who told me, rich people, sir. Rich people, they pay rent of 2,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees rent he pays and he lives. Can you believe? Yes, they're all big people. I said, 2,000 rupees is big. He can conceive only that much. Now, to him, moving from 500 rupees, because his salary itself is only 500 rupees. He's getting salary of 500 rupees. To him, a man who is spending 2,000 rupees for rent itself, and then he has to live, and then he has a bike, and then he has to fill in petrol, and then he has to do this, he has to do that. For all those things, how much he must be earning? A lot. So much he is earning. Now, there is another person who is earning 40,000 rupees. Now, he says, from 40,000 to 50,000 movement is a necessity. From 40,000 rupees, he will never feel a necessity for 40 lakhs. He'll never say, life at least 40 lakhs or you need. No. If you're not earning 40 lakhs, how can you live? He will never ask. He will always say, a 40,000 fellow will always say, I should get at least 60,000 rupees. If he can conceive 60,000, it is great. If he says, I want 1 lakh, we will also say what? He's greedy. What is so interesting is, the fellow who is saying from 40,000 to 60,000 moving will say, a man who is aspiring to move from 90 crores to 100 crores as greedy. This movement of 10,000 is correct, but the movement of 10 crores, 100 crores, that is wrong. That is greed. This is correct. Why? Because this is a necessity. That is a luxury. What defines your necessity? Think carefully. One fellow builds a house with, the double bedroom. What defines his needs, the double bedroom? His desire itself is only that much. You see, he will fantasize. He will look at a bungalow and say, wow, 27 floors, house when he sees. Wow, he will say and walk out. but he will never desire that I want it. I want to have it. If Mukesh calls and says, "Take it," I will say what? I will take the house and then sell all the floors. Buy one triple bedroom apartment and live happily. Bedroom. He cannot desire anything more than that. And whatever you feel as your necessity, must have, I cannot be without it. That is your desire. That's your need. And what is so interesting is, whatever you conceive as comfort, converted into a necessity by your own mind. After that, you can't do without it. That is how you are enslaved by your own action, your own pursuit, actions driven by your desires. If your desires were to be driving your action, it is detrimental, fatal. And he says, detrimental to your own well-being, your own inner well-being. It is detrimental. It destroys you. How it destroys you, sir? It keeps you always in that state of frustration, agitation, disturbance, either this way or this way. And also, it will always go for variety. If you imagine you are always going for variety, you should have the capacity to extract, to get it. Till you get it, it is frustration. After getting the disappointment. When you get it, excitement. This is how your mind is holding things. Now, how am I to get out of this scenario, sir? To which he gives a solution. The solution Karma Yoga gives is, don't stop the action. Now, immediately, everyone started doing. Everyone believes. Take VRS. And then don't know what to do in life. See, that's not what he is saying. That is not what the solution is. Because you have to perform action. And you have to perform action, but you can change what all that he says. Instead of the desires of the mind to be the driving force to the action, let the ideal chosen by the intellect be the driving force of your action. So this is the second, is that the vasanas will forcefully make me act, which means I am performing action not for the fruit of action. I am performing action because of the pressure of my vasanas. He understands that. Since he understands that, he is not worried about the fruit of action. He says, why? How can he be dropping the fruit of action, sir? Because he understands the first concept.